Press record. There we go. So from this point, you can see on a screen, I should be sharing my screen, right? Everybody should be visible to you. I should be showing a picture. And on that picture, this is what is always a reference that sticks in the back of my mind when we talk about privilege escalation or broken access control. In this picture, you have different users with different privileges that can or cannot do create, read, update, and delete actions on specific objects, like we can see here with addresses, wish lists, invoices. But we can clearly see that these users only have access to their own specific objects. If they were to access objects of a different user, we're talking about horizontal privilege escalation because it's on the horizon, or we're talking about insecure direct object reference. And insecure because we can access something we should not, a direct object reference being just an object with an identifier, address with ID 1 or wish list with ID 12. So those are direct object references. If we talk about functions, however, we're talking more about vertical privilege escalation, or in this case, your regular broken access control and a function level. Now, when we talk about these two things right here, there's something missing that you do see on API level, and that is talking about there's one thing missing here. If you think about a website, you can think about users with different privileges. You can think about users with different objects, and each object has attributes. So an application, what is an application? An application is a collection of business logic covered through things like objects with different attributes on which access control can apply and which are accessed through functions. So behind these functions, we can have calculations, and these functions take input and they give an output. Now, not that important, just note that we have three things that are important for us: function level, object level, and property level. In today's lesson, we're going to focus mostly on function level. That's already quite an impressive feat in and of itself. Now, of course, if you're testing for if you're testing for IDORs, you're automatically testing for broken access control. Because are all IDORs broken access control? Yes. Are all broken access controls IDORs? No, because broken access controls don't have to apply to object references directly. Is that clear so far what I'm trying to explain? Really important that we all get that base concept. I don't see any complaints, so that's good. If you guys have questions, don't hesitate to stop me. You can raise your hand. I'm going to show a different document right now, if I can find it, of course. So that's the one that we've just shown. Not what I need. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to grab it. Going to go to the drive. And here we go. Okay, now let me share the other screen. Jesus, I look like an old guy. Okay, so let's zoom this shit in. We're almost there, guys. Almost there. Stick with me here. So if we talk about broken access control, I've tried to put everything a little bit into an overview. I'll add this overview and the other pictures and all of the documentation that I'll be going over. I will be adding that to the drive as well. So what is broken access control in general? We know that there are applicative controls on specific objects, but not just objects. There are also functions, specific functions which can have access control, methods which can have access control, and even attributes which can have access control. So in a way, I could even be expanding this, and I think I will in the future. These are enforced by any type of authentication. Usually that's an authentication header, but that could be something like a JWT token, an OAuth token, whatever. After you log in, you get a token, and that token is used by the server to determine if you're able to access an object, property, or function. Let's zoom in here. IDORs. We're referencing to objects. Where can we find those references to objects? Well, you'll have to look for, and everywhere should be a potential source to look for parameters. So what I'm talking about is any type of documentation, API documentation. I'm talking about Wayback Machine. I'm talking about Google Dorking, anything you can potentially think of to find any parameter possible. You're going to go through the JavaScript. You're going to go through the entire website and you're going to look at parameterized requests. I'm going to look at cookies, going to look at headers, going to look at files that you are uploading and they contain an identifier. And I'm hammering on this so much because that's how I actually found a bounty one time. I was hacking and I found a really out of place click here to upload a file. And by just adjusting the identifier in said file, I could adjust objects that weren't mine. I'm gonna show you guys that because thanks to our lovely Orgus here, thank you by the way, Orgus, really appreciate you taking care of our labs for us. We have all of this. We have all of this available if I were to go to the proper URL. I don't know why I went there. All right, so broken access control. The thing that I was talking about was what's called second object IDOR. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into it because these aren't the IDOR labs, but this is what I was talking about. So you basically have a CSV file here. You cannot edit product one. You can edit the other products all you want, but just by uploading a CSV file, and you could download the example here as well. We prepared that for you. Yep, open and restrict mode, whatever. You can change the object identifier that's in here from 99 to 1, or you can just change it in the request. You can upload said file, and you're going to see that it's gonna work. Let's do this into a list so we can properly see the last file that we've downloaded, and there we go. We'll upload that, and you can definitely see that the product has been added, even though we shouldn't have the rights to edit this product since it isn't ours. So that's what I was talking about with the basically even in files that you upload, you'll have to check for any type of identifier. Here's a few tips. So how does broken access control work? Broken access control works in effect that you're going to ask something from the server and you're going to tell it, this is my token. Then you come to a point where the server will verify this token for you. If you ask something of a service which you're authorized to access and you get that service to access another service which you are not authorized to access. So you're basically playing a little bit of like pass the hot potato. You're asking a service through a different servers. I'll give you some examples. For example, a invoice. I might not be able to access an invoice, but I might be able to access an order. I might be able to access the print functionality. I'm printing on invoice, then I can get the invoice object and bam, I can still print that stuff. So even though I don't have access to the invoices directly, even though I have access to the print functionality, I can grab that print functionality to grab me the invoice specifically. And that is sufficient. That is more than sufficient. Okay, so guys, another tip that I can give you is that even though API endpoints specify that they only accept like a post or a put or a delete or a get, don't believe the documentation, because me as a developer, I would make this type of documentation. In this case, I'll show it to you as well because I think it is important. Now we do have quite a few API labs, but they're not specifically for the, or at least they aren't set up like I want them to. There should be some I believe in inventory management. Let's just do this. I'm sure that there is some type of broken access control here. So what you're seeing here, when we're talking about access control, this has nothing specific to do with access control. This has to do with what type of functions are available for me to test. And this is documentation that I, as a developer, I'm going to write. I'm not going to have this auto-generated. Yes, okay, maybe to a degree, or I might ask ChatGPT to do it or whatever. But just because it says that I cannot make a post here, or just because it doesn't detail the post method, doesn't mean that I cannot execute the post method. There's a big difference there. And I'm going to show you guys something really cool. I should have it installed. If not, that's no problem. We can do it live on air because Postman is a very important API testing tool, which I am going to eager you guys to download, like every single one of you guys. What I would like you guys to do now is to download Postman if you haven't already, and to install it on your device. So basically, I'll just I'll just link to Postman here. This is the streaming of Postman. In the meantime, I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to see what kind of requests there are. If you're not in our Discord channel, yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Orgus. I really appreciate it. Yes, hi there. Do you not hear me? Does the rest hear me? How about you guys? Do you hear me fine?
Yeah, good.
No,
Okay,
I can't
perfect.
hear you.
Oh, you.
What did you say?
So let's tell them to rejoin. Let's see if that helps, hopefully. Anyway, give it a shot if you haven't installed Postman yet. I'm just going to download maybe the Postman application itself. It's maybe a bit easier. Postman download. Perfect. That's really good. I would hope so because I have a pretty good microphone. Intel chip, just the Apple chip thing. So let's download Postman myself. Now, why is Postman so important for testing? If you're going to do anything API related, Burp Suite is fine. Burp Suite can test APIs, but Postman is specifically made to test APIs. And yes, I know we are a little bit maybe going overboard in the sense that I'm teaching you techniques rather than teaching you about broken access control. But don't get me wrong, this is super, super important. This is so, so important that you're able to talk to APIs. How else are you going to test them? People need to start understanding, and I think that you guys do understand this, don't get me wrong. But people do need to start understanding that it's a little bit like ridiculous that they expect hacking to happen if they don't know how to properly test something first. Just testing something, not even talking about hacking or trying to get any type of impact or whatever. Just regular testing. Now let's, like, as you guys see, I have a ton of workspaces. Let's create a new blank workspace and let's call this BAC testing. And I'm just gonna go only me in this case. No, I wonder if I could still go back. I don't think so. Let's just create a new workspace. Let's do BAC test 2. And if you're interested in this application, Postman, just know that I do have something on my channel as well. So which one was this again? I think inventory management API. So let's talk about this. This is going to be the requests that we make. Now I need to import what I just saw into here because otherwise there's no way that I'm going to be able to talk to it. So, oh crap, are we fucking there again? Jesus Christ, not again. I I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, let's take a small break while you guys try to install that. Do that already. Install your Postmans. I'm gonna get this shit done. So we can fuck's sake. Unbelievable. Give me a moment, guys. But I should probably stop sharing. So already tried to install that. I don't know what's going on with this Zoom stuff, by the way. It's like every meeting we upgrade. It's ridiculous. I don't know what's going on. So this is hosted with the thexssrat at gmail.com, I think, right? If you guys click on me, you can see the thexssrat at gmail.com. So I don't have the wrong account. That happens more than you think. Okay, so give me a second. How is the Postman downloading going? We used to be able to download Postman, by the way, but that stopped pretty quickly after, well, basically, we were dumbasses with that Postman. Well, we weren't really that dumb. Like, we had everything running with Postman, but suddenly one of us decided that they had to update. Smart, I know, because now you have to log in to use Postman, and all of the data is stored on American servers. That's not allowed where we work, like in Belgium, GDPR. It's all a shit show. So it's basically not allowed there. We trap the update situation under control for a moment. But then we do it. Uh, uh, and then we need to do like this. Take maybe one more moment. And then we need to figure out this whole situation with that Zoom stuff. Because I feel like it's every single meeting that we have to upgrade. Uh, that, all right. Nope. Still not resolved. We're nearly there, guys. Yeah, yeah, great. Give me 2 seconds. My keyboard is absolutely, yeah. So let's see. This is great, very professional. You can look back at the previous recordings on YouTube, by the way. You'll see that it cuts after a certain moment. It's always the exact time that the meeting ends. It's really strange because we pay it like every single time. Merci, Achat. Okay, twice, sometimes even. Anyway, let's get this shit figured out. Mm, mm, How much is that? Okay. And we click the my password is pass1234, and then we enter my credit card CCV, which is 000. Oh, I'm not muted. What a coincidence. Okay. Are we still not there? Uh, Seems like it. Well, yeah, that's logical. Okay, one more second. There we go. Meeting has now unlimited minutes. Jesus Christ, what the hell is wrong with me? When I'll get the Zoom situation under control, will I ever get it under control? It's a mystery. Who knows? I'm not gonna do any sort of remarks about that. We got it under control for now. Oof, that was stressing. How have you guys gotten that shit under control with your stuff? Like, is Postman installed? How is that running? So what I wanted to show, and you don't have to use Postman. You can also use Flask here. So I'll put this link here right in the chat. And then you guys, what you can do is you can either go to Postman and you can import that URL. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to share this stuff with you guys so you can just work with my, oh, of course, I had to share the API specs with Postman. So let's do that real quick. Yeah. I know I've been upgraded. Thank you. I appreciate it, Zoom. I really appreciate the feedback. So let's share this thingy right here. Let's share my workspace. Share. Where is the share button? There we go. Copy the link to it. So you guys can follow along with the workspace as well. So in the inventory management here, we can see, yeah, these are requests that I added, and these are the ones that I imported. So actually, this is our inventory management API, and this one can go. Now here we can see that we have different calls that we can make, and we can play around with these calls a little bit. Now I want you guys to tell me what the broken access control issue is with this whole setup. What is the broken access control when playing with this API? Now, I think you should be able to, at the very least, be interact with this because I have given you a full workspace and I have given you guys a Flasker API. I'm asking you now, what is the problem with this API in terms of access control? Can you name me all of the issues that are here? Imagine you are a bug bounty hunter and every single vulnerability that you report now is a medium that gives you 250 euros per issue. I want to know only the BAC issues. I want to know all BAC issues, including IDORs. What is the issue? Imagine that you are a bug bounty hunter at this point. What should your first step be in this situation? Let's explore what this thing can do. Okay, we can log in, we can register. Let's give that a shot first. Log in, register. Nice. Okay, we'll play around with that. Fine. We'll see what we can do, but that's not specifically broken access control related. Might be, might not be, but I see different user roles. I see here that I can give a specific user a specific role, but I see here as well that I can try calls to grab inventory items, which succeed, which a failed authentication required. Let's post a new inventory item. Let's see what this does. Again, authentication required. What does that mean? We're gonna have to log in. So let's try that out. Let's log in. Okay, execute. There we go. We can see we have a conflict. Username already exists. Why is that? Because my dumbass does the registration and not the authentication. So let's do something like ABC123, and we'll do the same for the password because this one seems to already exist. So we can see indeed user successfully authenticated. Now, what type of authorization are we playing with here? If we go back to the graph that we were playing with before, we can definitely see that we have some kind of authorization header here that is being enforced, right? Now, what type of authorization header am I playing with? Basic. So let's employ the help of our favorite AI overlord. Let's see. Yeah, let's just use this account for now. Please make a basic header curl call to this with username being ABC123 and pause the same. Now, I just want a curl request in this case. So I'm going to be able to execute that through my command line. Now, I just want to be curling to this endpoint. So let's ask ChatGPT to do that. You can already see what's going on in my head. So I'm thinking about what type of authentication authorization do I need here? What type of endpoint do I need? What type of tools do I need? And what type of functionality is available? At this point, there's quite a few things that I have been able to do. Let's clear a little bit. Let's execute the curl. We can still see authentication required. So there's definitely broken access control issues, but not in a sense that they are really exploitable here. And this is something I want to highlight because this is something I see a lot of people making as a mistake. They're automatically going to assume that there's authentication or authorization issues here. There are definitely authorization issues, but let's try that login call first. So let's try to have that authorization header that we made. So we can see here, oh, we didn't encode it properly. We have to tell ChatGPT, please encode the auth header properly as ABC123. ABC123. That's how authorization headers are set up. Username, password. So you can see we now have actual basic authentication headers. Let's give this a little bit of a shot. Still authentication required. Let's try to at least log in then for that part. Let's see what that does. We'll execute it. We get invalid credentials, which is really fucked up because I just did that, right? So you can see that this is a fucked up situation. What do I want to emphasize with this? Don't spend ages testing on an application that's already broken to shit. This thing is completely broken, and I don't mean that in a bug bounty hunter way. In this situation, you don't want to be testing this application. Walk away from this target. Have the guts to do that. You need to be able to walk away when you think it is too complicated, when you think it is too buggy, and when you think it is too fucked up. Let's try this situation here, but let's try it in this case with a postman where we're once again going to import and you guys can follow along as well. Of course, let's open that into a Swagger API right here. And let's try to create a new file. So the base URL here is not filled in, it says. Why is that? Because when I import something right here, you can see that there's a base URL that I have to fill in myself. In this case, it's simple. It's this value, and I can fill that in, and then I can say persist all values, or I can say reset all values. In this case, I want to persist it, so I'm just gonna put it into the current value as well. And if I make my request now, will that succeed? No, I'm making a big mistake on purpose. It's just not filling it in. Why is that? You see that little orange red orb there? That's that I didn't save. So once I've done that, it'll tell me file has been successfully created since it went to that endpoint. Now let's say that I want to see what exactly happened in the bottom left. I can also go to the console and I can follow along. Now, do me a favor and try that on this here, on these API docs, on this API documentation. What are all of the exploits that you can see here that are possible? Like, I'll give you a big hint. It's fucking everything. It's literally fucking everything in this case. So how do you report that? That's my big question. You have four endpoints: create, a list, history, and delete. What do you report? Just give me the title of the things you would report. I'll give you guys a few minutes for that, by the way, while I try to catch my breath with a nice chemically induced vape coma. Hey, what? It tastes like fucking mint. It has to be fresh, dude. What the fuck you looking at? Come on, give me a break. And no, I don't care that it is fucking antifreeze or wiper fluid that I'm inhaling. I don't give a fuck. Sue me. Disclaimer, please do not actually sue Uncle Red. So anybody, anything you'd report? Looking at you, Mr. Orgis. Orgis is like, what? What the fuck did I do? Get the hell away from me. Would you guys like it if we do a single mock report so that you guys know what I would report, and then we can like extrapolate to the rest, and then I can tell you what I'd report. Or would you guys say no? Don't tell us what you'd report. We don't give a shit. Reporting is one thing. We'll get there when we get there. Just let's just move on. Any preferences? If you're wondering what I think, does reporting matter? Absolutely, it does. It's one of the most important parts of it. If you can't get the other side to understand what you're trying to report, you're not reporting anything at all. But you're just wasting your time at that point if you're not able to report properly. And it's simple in this case, right? So basically, whenever I have an object in this case, you need to look further than what is given to you. You can see that we have files here. We can create files, we can delete files. Why can't we read and why can't we update files? So that is something that I'll definitely be trying, where I'll be changing the post by a put, or I'll be changing that post by a, so you have post, you have delete, and you have put. Then you also have get for a single file, which I don't see in anywhere here. You can maybe update the history. You can maybe delete from history. You can maybe get a single history entry, because you can see that you can get all the history here, but not a single entry. Why not just try history /1 or /2 or whatever? On top of that, this is fucking cool, isn't it? This is what a lot of people see or don't see, what a lot of people miss. Check this out, what the history displays. If you see a history, if you have an option to show what the people before you have done, if you have breadcrumbs, you'd be a dumbass not to actually check for them, right? So what would I report here? There's basically, and I know this, you cannot create, sorry, I mean, you cannot update or you cannot read single files. So I would here report that there is an issue with the history, that there's an issue with a weak password username, root password, that I'm able to guess those. So that is two already. And with each, give a step by step, give a prerequisites, give an actual result, and give an expected result. So get those in your ears. I'll give you guys an example report as well. I should have one on my drive, so I'll add that if you guys can. I'll just download that right now. Sample report. There are some crazy good samples that we got here. This is a nice report. I wonder who written that. Crazy RDP. I think this is it. Somebody's exam reports. Let's not share that. Let's not. Maybe just a bit, maybe just that's not test report. Is this? Yep, this is the one that I'm talking about. So this is going to be a report that you can see for a single exploit is 7 pages long. A lot of people are shocked when they see 7 pages because they think that they can get away with a single pager, but you really can't. You really have to give everything and report everything. So I'll also give you guys some full example reports as well with everything in it, so you know how to place it within a pen testing report, how to place it within a report itself when you do a bug bounty, whatever. Hope that helps. Hope that helps, my friends. Also, you guys are quiet. What's up today? Why so quiet? Come on, a little bit of interactivity. Let's have some fun. Oh, I found a bug, Orgus. If you have something open in a new tab like red here, no, it's not really a new bug. I thought it was a bug. No, it isn't. I didn't find the bug, Argus. I didn't find the bug. All right, guys. Now, when you came here, did you expect to go this deep? Ah, shit, that came over wrong. I meant when you came here, did you expect to go this expansive in terms of technical knowledge? This broken access control seems simple, right? It's just testing if somebody is able to do something or not. Or you haven't gotten even to the meat of it yet because these are simple, simple, simple APIs. You don't have user groups. You don't have anything. There's this great program on integrity. I'll see if I can find it that gives you basically a Visma. Visma is also not too bad. I'll open it as well. I'll give you guys maybe a little bit of a list, which is great to test for these types of issues, these types of exploits. For some, you'll have to set up your own lab. That shouldn't be a problem for hackers like you, right? I'm just checking out a few programs. You can maybe see that I'm not a huge fan of most of these programs because most of these are business to consumer programs. When it comes to broken access control testing, that's business. So what do you test? A business to business application. Normally, you should do that. Give you guys a nice list of, oh shit, I was a bit too fast. Through him, I can pull this here. There, nothing nice here, nothing nice here, nothing else here. Sweevo, here we go. Lovely, lovely little program, Sweevo. I'll show you guys why in a bit. So if you go to Sweevo and you scroll down a little bit, check this shit out. So it's down here. Basically, they give you a permission matrix. Now, it's not updated, it's not accurate, it's not great, but it's something. Now, this hasn't been updated since 2021. And here they tell you what each type of user can do. Now, is that super, super useful? Of course not. We all know that that's not too super useful. Anyway, let's give you guys, I'm gonna know what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna post this into x.com and I'll give you guys that same list. So list of B2B bug bounty program for this is BAC testing and one game program because we also have something nice in there. So these guys, uh, they have a nice permission matrix. You can check that out. Give these guys a little bit of a shot. And then we'll also seek for Grafana and we'll also see if we can add Enviso on there. Why not, right? Now I'm a big fan of integrity. Let's see, Enviso. I think I'll have to log into integrity to access Enviso. We'll look at that later. Hmm, the programs. You can see that I have 135 invites open. Most are shit. Don't believe the hype around private invites, guys. Alright. Seems like we can post that stuff, and I'll now post that as well in our chat so you guys can have a little bit of a reference what to actually hunt for. Let's get back to our little mind map here. All right, so what I wanted to add here was objects that have parameters. So let's do that immediately so I don't forget. These have parameters. should make it a little bit easier to do. All right, so two more sections that we need to cover very urgently. And then we also need to do a little bit of a practical demonstration. I suggest that we take a short 5 minute full break where everybody gets away from their computer for a little bit. Good suggestion, Marius. I will share that as well for sure. So what I'm going to do for you guys is we have basically we should have a BAC Cyber Crusade. Here we go. I'm gonna add all of this stuff that I've been talking about here, but I will get that mind map. I'll export it to for export as PNG, so that way I can put that here as well. So we'll put the mind map there. We're gonna put the permission matrix. We have that. This one, we're gonna add the reports that we talked about, but already in there. Test report, and then we will put as well. You guys would like, I don't mind. Could put the C file here, the PNG file for that. All right. So I'll share the link to this folder with you guys. Once again, if you are new here, it would be really awesome if you would be able to join our Cheese Master, to join our server, because we've built a Cheese Master that basically can give you something like these certificates right here, as you see. So basically, every time that you join a lesson like this, basically you can get a certificate, which is nice for your LinkedIn as well. You just have to DM the bot the exclamation mark cert with the identifier, which you can get if you want to do exclamation mark lessons. You can see which lessons we are currently have ongoing. If you want to see the crusades, I believe it's crusades, no, cyber crusade. Fuck it. Oh wait, show crusades, I believe it is. Yeah, there we go. So the current crusade that we have going on is broken access control. Now, why is broken access control so nice? You guys know that it's in the OWASP top 10. It's in the OWASP top 10 pretty highly. If we go there for a moment, before I forget, I can link this so we can invite you. We'll manually add you guys to the lesson if you haven't joined through there. Um, So if we go to the OS top 10 here, we can see that broken access control is pretty important. Now, I agree fully that this is the 2021 version, but they should be bringing out the 2024 version soon, I believe, or is it 2025 version? And we can still see that broken access control is in here. Now, it's not very definitive yet. They're still working on that quite a lot, quite intensively, but we know from experience that it is still very, very prevalent, and it will always be prevalent, period. It's just as simple as that. Broken access control, it's simple because you cannot teach that to a machine. That's the beauty of it. Let's do a timer for 5 minutes so I can get a little bit of drink. You guys as well, and I'll be back in a tiny bit. All right, guys. Now, before we move on, I have to ask, are there any questions that I haven't answered so far? It's really, really important. We'll be moving on to a bit of a more practical demonstration, but I need everybody to onboard 150%. I like that meme picture, by the way, George. Uncle Red approves. I will name your nephew George, yes. All right, I don't think there's any more questions, right? So please don't hesitate to stop me. And don't hesitate to chat a bit as well. I love some interactivity. It's preferable. And don't worry about being late, HZ. There will also be a recording available for you guys on the drive link that I've shared before. There you should be able to follow along from the start. Now, if you guys haven't seen this yet, you should also go to YouTube. No, I don't. Anyway, uh, Jesus Christ, my YouTube feed is a mess. So basically, there's like a broken access control. There's broken access control stuff that we've uploaded. I will have a look at the. This is basically the previous. I feel like I should follow the recording again. That's okay, dude. I didn't expect you guys to be along from the start either. Nothing bad, no bad feelings at all, by the way. It's just that this is a very difficult topic and people underestimate this heavily, heavily underestimate this. So let's see. This one should be public. The first part, the second part seems to be public as well. The third and the fourth parts will come online in a bit, and then there will also be the full video. So previous lessons are online, and I think it is important as well. So far, no questions. So far, so good. Let's have a little bit of a demo of Red Side. Has anybody seen Red Side before? I think you'll love Red Side. Awesome. Good, good. So let's first of all go and activate the right stuff on Red Side because you might know that my dear Red Side has an admin panel in which I can activate or deactivate all of these values. I can set them to one, yes or no. Let's start with Red Shop now. First of all, if you see something weird, that's because every 30 minutes this shit resets. So let's yeah, whatever. Yeah, save. So right now I'm logged in with a specific user. Now, how do I want to test this? I'm going to test this with Burp Suite. I haven't even installed Burp Suite on my system again since the last time because I had to do complete reinstallation. But that's okay. We can do a Burp Suite full download. Now, would you guys like to see Burp Suite Zap? Or would you like to see Invicti? Because that's also something that I've been playing with a little bit. Let's first do Jesus. Let's first start with Port Swigger with Burp Suite because that's what most people know. But I'm telling you guys, like Zap may be a bit confusing. Once you get the hang of it, it's also very usable. That being said, Invicti is also very usable. It's all about the tester. It's the same with AI. You get in what you get out what you put in. If you put stupid shit in, you'll get stupid shit out. It's as simple as that. Same with what we do here. If we test it in dumb ways, we can fuck shit up so bad that we're not even testing the right thing anymore. And I'll show you how easy it is to make that mistake because we talked about the authentication tokens, the auth headers. Now, how does Red Site work? Why did I pick Red Site? It's because it's made by an amateur programmer called Uncle Red. And Red Site, what's so cool about this? Let's start Burp Suite up. What's so cool about Red Site is that this amateur programmer, basically, when you come here and you look at your cookies, so do we have a cookie edition? No, we don't. Let's just, what I use is edit this cookie. And it's basically an extension that you can use for Chrome. Let's download this in the Chrome web store. Let's add that. And they'll easily be able to tell you what you have going on. in terms of cookies so that you can edit them and play with them. So now that we've had that installed, let's see what cookies we have. Let's allow, and we can see that we don't have any cookies. That's not correct. We'll have to just refresh the page, I'm afraid. Because what we have here, if we look, what we have here is a cross-site scripting attack. That's one thing. We see, once again, no cookies. Really weird, right? Let's do a little bit of an inspection. And let's look at the network traffic going on, or let's just look into here even. So we can see that on labs.hexpert.com we have a few JavaScript files. Interesting, isn't it? Wow, that's a username, that's a password. I can log in with that later. We'll remember that. We're not going to go too deep into it just yet. What I want to do first is I want to do network. So I'm going to make a request, and you can see here that I do have some request headers as well. They are in here, and there are cookies. So there's something going on with my extension that's making it so it's fucked up. That way, I'm not going to go and be able to look at what's going on with my actual cookies. Why is that? Because I said allow only on this side. Did that on purpose. It's really, really interesting to see because it's not the domain that is actually well, these cookies are applicable to a certain domain, and this extension doesn't have access to that domain. Now, how does a red site work? Red site is pretty simple. Red site work based on session IDs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, yeah, let's do Zap. Basically, Zap is no longer part of OWASP. I don't know if you guys know this, but I didn't know that. Now I know. Well, I know since a little bit, but basically, it was a big shocker to me. Good foot, by the way, good for George. Because if you're interested in how to do any of these broken access control things, I also have. So if you just go to YouTube, you go, there he is again. It was fucking crack. Jesus Christ. So you just go to the thexssrat, and here you can look for BAC playlist. I have a very specific playlist around broken access control, and it'll also show you all of these different techniques in a very practical way. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'm just going to put the playlist right here while I download my Zap, and then we're going to install that. So that way you guys can also follow along right now, but you can also just as well watch later with specific sections, such as, for example, a simple demonstration right here. I got some demonstrations with tooling, but the most important one there would be something like Burp Suites. Like there are extensions in Burp Suite called Authorize. That's a really important one. Let's uh, let's open applications, I believe applications. Uh, do it this way, then applications zap, and we'll open that. If you have that on Mac, you just have to right click and open it. And that should allow you to open the XD application itself if it says not trusted stuff. Now, Zap, what Zap has is when you start it up, it asks you, do you want to persist or not? That's just, do you want to save, yes or no? In this case, yes, let's just save, let's start it up. And first things first, we always have to, so yeah, in Zap, it will always see, okay, you have these different extensions. Do you want to update them? Yes or no? I'm just gonna download the updates that I need. So let's first start with a bit of manual exploration. And we have the URL, don't we? Because it's just labs.hexpert.com/testing grounds/red site. Now I can enable the HUD and I can launch the browser with Firefox, for example. I don't even have Firefox, so that's going to be difficult. Let's launch Chrome instead. Now, in Zap, what's important is these contexts, because basically, when you start a Zap, it's going to be context dependent what you see here. You see the request, you see the response. That's because I am going to do requests and responses. I will start the browser and I can see requests and I can see responses and all that's going on. If I do an automated scan, I'll see the output of the automated scan over there. So there are ways that we could explore. Let's just go with Chrome right now and let's launch a browser. So in this case, with Zap, the problem is that you don't have something like authorize. You only have different extensions, and these are add-ons. So you'll have to go into where is it again? Export tries. Great. Oh Jesus. Well, we don't need to Zap market. Yeah, here we go. Access control testing. So basically, access control testing, very simple application. Let's just try to do it through Zap. You should be able to have like a Zap load add-on file. We could do it that way. You see how, like, this is one of the biggest problems that Zap has. It's not very intuitive when it comes to where do I click, what do I open up. I just need the Zap freaking marketplace, the add-on marketplace, so I can install the extension. I can, of course, just unzip it. I can import that zip as well, but I'm a lazy cunt. What you gonna do about it? So let's start a new session. Tools, I think. Uh, No, that's actually testing tools. File, no, load. I'm just gonna do it through that, I think. Services, hide SAP, hide others, analyze. Yeah, fuck it. Online, SAP website, SAP videos, the marketplace. Fuck it. We have it anyway. So let's just, what we're going to do is just extract this. Oh, it says .zap file, so I can immediately normally load it. Let's see. So we go here, go load add-on file, go to downloads, and here we should have the access control, that's what it's called, right? Okay, so now you see nothing happening. Logical, normal. It's because you have to add this access control thing right here. You have to set up your proper context. Now, what does a context mean? And context means a scope. So first we'll add that to our scope. We'll have to make sure that it includes rat side. We don't have any out of scope sections. Technologies that we can test for are included. Authentication. Now, how do we authenticate? It's form-based authentication. What do we authenticate? Login, form, target URL. So you go to your application, you go to your login. Basically, I have guides on all of this. I have guides on how to use this. I'm not going to go too deep into it. If you want to know, just go the thexssrat zap access control. And I'm going to do you guys a huge favor, all of you. I'm going to give all of you guys my access control course as well. So if either Orgis or Mariash could get a coupon for the access control course and post it in the chat, please, that would be really appreciated because there I'm going to go step by step through all of these options. Now, the problem here is that I want to go through all of these options, but I'm just a little bit time limited. So I want to focus on how to logically go about this. The very first thing that we are missing here is exactly all of the functionalities that we can do. So we have to start by exploring this with a man-in-the-middle proxy in the background. I don't give a flying fuck what man-in-the-middle proxy, as long as we are able to map out our application. And now I'm going to show you guys something fun, something I've wanted to do for a little bit. So let's do the Python installation because this is a really, really cool application of AI. Basically, I want to know what type of functionality there is. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to ask it to write me a bash script that will function in the background as a man-in-the-middle proxy. And I want it to capture and map my application under test. That is what that means. I wanted to map it out. So I need to know all the endpoints easily visually with all of the parameters as well. So let's see if ChatGPT is able to do that. Well, it's not It's not malicious. I promise, ChatGPT. So basically, it is creating it for me, which is great. This is going to really help me analyze what I have in terms of an application in front of me. And I might even be able to repeat stuff because now I can say, now make it Python with a GUI. Because I know some of you guys like to work with GUIs in that regard, so it can redefine it. There we go. Dekinkers, that is something that I would have expected it to work with as a GUI. In the meantime, I'm going to install Python as we go. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, I had to do like a full reinstallation of this computer. You want to know why? Because some dumbass spilled Coca-Cola over my keyboard and now they can't type their password anymore. And I locked my account for maybe 2 years. Maybe. It's all allegedly, you know? There's never any proof. It's all the same. It's always the same shit. It's always like, oh, allegedly this, allegedly that. Yeah, whatever. So let's see here. Test.py. Yeah, whatever. Install the Python stuff as well, please. Otherwise, you will not be able to run. And I'm probably going to need to, I don't know if that is installed, there. I'm going to have to probably get pip as well. Pip installer. Because this isn't gonna work as it is. Stuff like Alicia, love you, love you, stuff like it. I know that love you wasn't to you guys. So we can start the proxy. Perfect. Look at this. Look at how fucking good this is, guys. So let's end this. Let's just do a pip install, pip3 install, probably mitim proxy. This is what I love. This is fucking amazing. Because I've gotten ChatGPT to install me a very simple proxy, which I just made myself. I don't need any pro versions or whatever. I can add whatever the fuck kind of feature I need, and I can make it super, super, super simple. Look at this. Look at this. Proxy's running. Fucking amazing, isn't it? It's fucking amazing. And now I can start the browser, something like Firefox. I can set it to the port that this thing has been started up on. Let's see if there is a specific port. Nope, so it's probably just gonna be port 8080 or something simple. We could have it do some extra logging or whatever, but this is basically what I wanted to show you. Now let's do stop the proxy, and now I want it to add, so it will install Chromium, it not found, and open it with proxy. Let's see if we can do that. Damn, the AIs are fucking taking over, guys. It's going over like fucking fast. Really, really fast. If you see how far it's come, as long as you feed this thing the right prompt, as long as you feed this thing the right questions, you're going to get the right answers. It's as simple as that. It's amazing how far that has come, and thank you so much for this. I really appreciate that. Let's see what this thing can do for us. Yeah, probably because I didn't save it. That's probably the password to the computer that it needs. Yeah, well, there's some kinks to be worked out. That's normal. That's to be expected. I think it's still damn impressive. Yeah, for sure, Sky. Launch Chromium proxy needs to be replaced. It's just easier. In the meantime, I can answer your questions. How do you get a code editor in the right? So that's basically this code editor is what's called Canva. And this is something that it does itself. So let's see, because I don't think it made changes. Yeah, there we go. Finally, it's doing one task. No problem, George. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. So, how do you get the code editor? That's that. You have better AI overlord then. Well, basically, it depends because I need to see what's up here again. But basically, this is with Canva, but I could also use the O1 preview, the O1 mini. These are all. It depends on what you need to do. Each is good in its own kind of task, if that makes sense. But they all have stuff that they're good at. Some better than others. As you can see here, this one is pretty decent at coding, but you can even add things like, for example, if I want to ask something about ChatGPT, I can mark things and I can ask it. No problem, dude. It's not, it hasn't found Brew. It doesn't have Brew. I need to install Brew. Anyway, no idiot. You see, it's not always smart. It has its moments. Okay, so basically, yeah, I'm not gonna poke this thing too much more. What you need to remember from today, if anything, is do business to business applications, don't do business to consumer applications. There's no point in doing business to consumer at all. No point, zero. So you need to remember that. You need to make sure that once you have your target, sorry. So here we can see it's running the process for brew install. I basically need to add that into here. Give me the, I just need to know the fucking sub process to run. Is it so hard? Is it really so hard? Anyway, so I'm not gonna bother you guys too much more with this. We now know what's up and what isn't. Basically, this is in the wrong. That's why. And this can just go there. Let's give it one more shot, and then I'm just gonna stop it here. This for the proxy. Yeah, it still has problems with brew. We can get it as far as we need to, of course. And the problem, the beauty is, this is something that would have taken me maybe days, maybe weeks to write before. Now it takes me maybe minutes, maybe hours. So I just wanted to inform you guys that you tag your target by exploring it first. You make sure that you have a proxy running. You go through it. You note down every single type of user that there is. You note down what that user can do and what they can't do. And you test the little red squares here. So types of users versus what they can do in the application, cannot do. So what will I be testing if a normal user can do this, if a sales guy can do this, and if a manager can do this? That should be reducing your test load in half. Ensure that you know that the right authentication header is being used, and ensure that you are actually testing with the, how do I say this? So basically, you log in as the high privileged user, you log in as the admin, you execute the function, and you replace the authentication headers with the one of the low privileged user. So in our case, in red side, what would I be replacing? The session ID with the session ID of my low privileged user. How can I get a new session ID? I just open a different browser or I open an incognito window. Don't test in the same window in a different tab because that will not work. Is that clear, ladies and gentlemen, dear rats? Are you ready to go and hunt and find me $1 billion right now? Of course you are. What a dumb question. You're fantastic. Perfect, perfect. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And why is this so important? This is no joke. When you do bug bounties, there's two tactics you can take. One is you're going to go for the high yielding bugs, the criticals, but you'll find less. And the second one is you'll go for the mediums, aka the business to business, and you'll find more. I got into the top 20 in integrity in less than a month time with just reporting these types of bugs. You guys are the legends, not me. You guys are fantastic for showing up. I really appreciate it. I'm going to link once more this location here. I'm just gonna link this once more so everybody has that link. And once the recording is finished, so let's say tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have that available for you. If you have questions, once again, please do join our Discord because at that point we could also add you to our lesson. Now, I don't know if you guys have been added to the lesson yet, but the good thing is we have a channel. So in this channel, you can still ask questions later on. You can tag us, and I really, really appreciate you all for joining and listening to my sick voice. In this folder that I've given you, what is in here is an example pen test report, the mind map that we started with, a little bit more of an overview of what broken access control is and what attack strategies you have. I've also included how to automate your broken access control hunting with Burp, a step-by-step guide, so simple that even my toddler could follow it. The same with Zap, step-by-step guide. So if you can't follow this, I'm sorry guys, but you'll have to we'll have to have a talk, another test report, and just that overview that we've talked about with the mind map together. My ladies, my gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to go hit a hay because I'm still sick and you probably hear it in my voice. So I'm going to let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Please do let me know if you find bugs because it's always lovely to hear. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Have a good evening and I'll see you in the next one.